part in a long time because it fucking kills me to do it.
Oh,
That'll drive you
Hell,
nuts, won't it?
back when we was doing the show, I didn't.
We are live, and welcome to an impromptu lobby chat on the weekend. And I have a panel. I've got a Scott. I've got a
Yep.
Jimmy. I've got a Tony. I've got a man who loves chicken chalupas. And you're probably hearing the Death Note music of Legend of Zelda right now. But this was just for me to show you how the onboard audio works in the stream. So, you guys who are streaming, if you play this back, you'll probably hear this. If you're in the panel, you're probably not hearing this. But anyway, let me turn this crap off. So anyway, better late than never. There are topics, so let me give you just a basic rundown of what I had in mind before we went live. This I set up generally just as a Q&A session because anybody watching who wants to join this stream, or to create one like this, if you have questions on how this setup works, hit me up in the YouTube side chat, which is at the bottom left corner of our stream. The email address is at the bottom right corner of the stream. If you want an invite, just shoot me an email at that address. If you're an Old Gun Channels member, just put your username in there if your email address is not the same. That way we recognize you and we can toss you in here with the rest of us.
Have you ever listened to the early watch? Because I don't give a fuck about topics.
Right. Well, I just wanted to not meander too much because essentially this was for you and Jimmy anyway. Because so you've had two shows, and both of them went the full length. And so what I did was I watched them for a bit, and I was trying to like catch the little things, the nuances of confusion, I guess, that you guys had in the beginning of how to set certain things up or get them running. So I made you a tutorial video, which I put on privately, and hopefully you guys have had a chance to see that. That way you don't end up with the dreaded "we're saving your resources" thing when you're trying to share a video. So for the viewer that's watching us now, this is our panel view, which is just like you would see in Google Hangouts. Like my whole goal in any of this was try to give people back Google Hangouts without a price tag. And as long as you have a decent computer and the right software, you can do this. And thankfully, all the software is free. So here it is. You can lay it out any way you want. You can run it any way you want. And then uh, in the event that there are other people watching who want to stream this way and they ask me questions or whatnot, I can share you the link to the tutorial videos I've already created for these guys. And that way you can sort of fill in the blanks and then just PM me later about, oh, hey, I wasn't sure how you did this. Could you explain it? You can always email me at that address at the bottom there, and I'll try to get back to you in a reasonable amount of time. So
You know,
anyway,
honestly, when me and Jimmy are running the show, this thing works way better than I expected.
well, yeah, and the thing is like, this is the way it could have been the day after Hangouts stopped. Like, I had this figured out before Google Hangouts shut down because we were given plenty of advance notice that that was coming. So when I knew that was coming, I thought, you know what? Let me try to figure out an alternative because, I'm an IT guy and try to figure out what it's going to take to make it work and try to do it in a way that was easily digestible so the learning curve would be very shallow. And I hope, through your success that it's marginally working. And then, if there's growing pains or whatnot, we can burn that bridge when we get to it. Not cross it,
Well,
burn it.
Monday will tell more because I'll be at home on a really shitty connection.
Yeah. Well,
I'm down at my
so
daughter's where she has decent internet. The last two shows.
so I'm looking at the way that I set up my OBS, and my bandwidth is a commercial grade line here at my house because IT guy. So like I don't. That's an expensive thing, but it's because I use it as much as I do. So I've got my upload stream bandwidth set I think at a level that even somebody like Rick with a DSL connection should be able to do this because, you know, free, whatever, alternative, whatever. Uh, but yeah, I've only got it uploading at five 5 megasecond. It's not much, so like it works really well. Like I don't have any yellow lights right now, and it's perfect.
Well, you're gonna have a hell of a time convincing Rick to switch because hey, he's like me. He's fucking old.
Yeah, the thing is he's not using the duck either. But what he is using is a question mark in terms of longevity. So like, will it work? Will it still be around in a month or 2 years or whatever? It's good to always have your alternatives set up in the background just in case, like a fallback plan. But
Yes,
anyway,
I agree with you 100%.
I want to jokingly say that today's chat is sponsored by Prevagen for those in mental decline, and it's not a dig at anybody here because of what I've had to deal with. So I think I told you guys off air. Uh, I've been yanking hair out of my head because my dad's 85 and he's got advanced level dementia, and my mom is 70 or she'll be 70 this year, and she's befuddled by technology. So she's constantly asking me, "Can you fix this? Can you log on to this and check and make sure my bills are paid?" And yada yada yada. Because I got her a iPhone Master Race 12 Pro Max, like I've got. Because why not? I wanted her to. I'm trying to force feed her technology to show to her that there's conveniences that are in there, and she's starting to slowly come around to it, and I'm slowly setting her all up for these auto pays and these bill pays and things like that. So I'm like, hey, look, all you got to do is check your bank statement and nothing else, and you'll see every auto draft, and it'll say what it is and when it came out, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to waste your time trying to buy stamps and licking them and sticking them on envelopes the old-fashioned way and handing it to a fucking carrier pigeon and having them fly off and get shot down by German anti-aircraft cannon. Those days are over. You just push a few buttons on your screen and off you go. So she's got it, but she's nervous about it. So every week she comes up to me, she hands me her phone, and she goes, "Can you just make sure that it worked?" And I'm like, "It works. I've been using it for 10 years." And she just has to see it. So I show it to
I
her.
was an I was an early adopter of this, not sending shit in, just fucking pay it online.
Yeah, because
I
you don't have to
picked
do
that up
it a week
quick.
in advance. Like you're like, I could do it on the due date, bam, and it's done, right? You don't have to, oh shit, I got to get in there 7 days because of the mail, and what if they lose it and someone sharts on my envelope and they can't make out the address? Like all that is done, which I will go
Your
into
mom
a
accessed her email.
yes, now she does. But the thing is like the whole,
Link sends you an email every month. Says what bill pays went out.
no, because she doesn't check her mail as often. She checks it when she comes up to me and says, "I'm going to check my mail now," because befuddlement. And she doesn't want to she thinks that
Oh,
if she pushes the wrong sequence of buttons, that like a Russian satellite in low orbit is going to open up the missile silos and just start bombing everything. Like she really thinks she's got like an uplink to Russian nuclear weapons or something. But anyway,
that's because you skipped by saying "Welcome to Biden's America."
I never told her that. I just said he's a befuddled old asshole. But the whole point is, uh, she asked me to do it again at last Monday, and I can't because my dad, in his infinite curiosity or in his broken mental routine, jumps on his computer, watches America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent, just all that crap all day. And before he goes to bed, he always has this weird habit of logging onto his bank account, logging onto his credit cards accounts, and just looking at them, and then logging off and going to bed. And I told him, I'm like, yo, you don't need to do that. Just let the system work and only check it if you personally have gotten a message that something was charged to your account through mom's phone. He can't do that because he can't even remember what he had for breakfast half the time. So because of that, he gets locked out of his accounts more often than not, and I have to sit there and fix it. And then this morning I was on the phone with Chase, for instance, for 45 minutes just to get them to unlock the page so I can change the password. And the whole time he's babbling in my ear about a little spiral notebook that I gave him because I told him early on, let the notebook remember for you. And he goes, "Don't make these passwords so damn complicated." And I'm like, "Listen, you have to do it that way because they have rules. It has to be a certain number of letters. It has to have a capital. It has to have special characters. It can't have uh, consecutive numbers, stuff like that." And he, obviously for a guy his age, it's confusing because why not? Why can't I just pick whatever I want as a password? And then I have to stop and explain to him, hey, it's because they're too easy to crack. So just go with it. And I would write it down and I'd hand it to him his little book. And then I would have to go to my mom's phone and change all the passwords on her phone. And that got done. And then as I'm getting ready to walk in here 20 minutes late to start the stream, I get, "Oh, can you check my other bank account because I can't seem to get into that?" To which I replied, "No, no, I can't. You're going to have to go to the bank and fix it this time because I can't." And sure enough, I tried it and it said, "Please go to your local branch office for a reset." So she's pissed. I'm late. This is leading into another rant about gun broker sellers. If you are a gun broker seller and you are over the age of 60, please ask your children or your grandchildren, or if you're really busy, great grandchildren, I guess, what is Zelle and why has this not been in my life before? Because I am really sick and tired of writing. I've only written 4 checks in my whole life, ever. 2 of them was just in the last month. I've had a checking account with this bank for 25 years. 4 checks in 25 years. Zelle is free. It is an electronic transfer like an electric check. Goes from my account to your account. Almost every major bank uses it. There's 0 transaction fees, and you're guaranteed to get paid within minutes. Instead of making me write a check, me look for a goddamn stamp and an envelope, and put it in the mail and hope it gets to you in 10 days.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, quit happen on old people.
Well, no, my point is
I use Zelle all the time.
Right. I'm not saying you guys need to use it. I'm talking about the gun broker sellers out there who can't seem to make technology their bitch. Like my local gun show circuit. I'm in the 4th largest city in the country. And I go to these gun shows and I'm asking the sellers, "Hey, do you take Zelle?" And thankfully, a few people do, which is great because the one thing that used to really get on my nerves is you go to a gun show, you want to buy something, you see it, it might be a little bit more than you're carrying. You go to the ATM, it might be a little bit more than your withdrawal limit of the day or whatever, right? Or
that's your own goddamn lack of planning.
Well, yeah, but honestly, you're going to go to a place and you're going to carry like 10 grand in cash. That's like asking for trouble. Like, who the hell carries cash anymore? That's
At a
a joke.
gun show? Are you kidding?
Well, because they're all dinosaurs that don't use electronic transfers. And the other thing is they think, because they think they know what they're doing, that, "Oh, I'm sorry, this must be like a credit card transaction, so I have to charge you an additional 3%. No, you don't. So anyway, my regular gun sales people at these shows, they always show up every year, every month, every week. I've convinced more than half of them to start taking it, which is great. Because now you just walk up and be like, "I'd like to have that." And the guy's like, "Okay." And he calculates the total with the tax. And he's like, "It's going to cost you this much." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your Zelle?" He gives me the phone number. Boom. Push one button. He's paid. We're done. I don't have the danger of carrying cash in my pocket and someone jacking me or whatever. And he got paid. I got my gun. End of story.
Is there an electronic trail for that shit?
Yes. So.
Well, I don't want that.
Well, no, it's on your account. So, like, if you make a purchase, like for instance, I bred Yorkies, right? And I sold my puppies, and everyone who was going to pay me paid me through Zelle. So I just logged on to my bank like I normally do, and um, it shows me your transactions, and it says you received a payment from so and so for this much. Memo, Yorkie. It's like, okay, cool. It's just like, when you do a debit. It's the same like electronic log. So it's not a big deal. Anyway, that was
Well,
just my rant.
Biden don't give a fuck about Yorkies.
No, and he doesn't give a fuck about our money either. Like he's just making it rain with money he doesn't have, and he just continues to keep printing it, which is ridiculous. But
Well,
anyway,
I'll agree with you on that one.
the whole point is like make technology your bitch and make your life easier. And I'm only ranting about this because I was in an auction uh, 18 days ago, and I had won the auction 12 days ago, and I sent the check out 12 days ago, and it didn't clear until yesterday. The guy was only 4 states away. He's in your state, Tony. He's only 4 states away in a straight shot line. And it took 10 days just to get to him and clear. And I still don't even have a tracking number yet. And it's like, I could have had my gun. I bought another one from a dude in New York. I had to mail him a check, but his check got there in 3 days somehow. I got a tracking number on the third day. It showed up at my house 3 days later. That's how it should be done. 6 days, done. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm done.
Hey,
Well, good.
Volcano Squad out there says Zell is
Fucking
evil.
Shut up when I'm talking, Jimmy.
Sorry, Master Tony.
Good God, we work together enough. You ought to know that.
Yes.
Never happen again, sir. Never,
Zell
never,
is
sir.
evil, and we should all be wearing tinfoil hats and jumping into volcanoes and sitting at the pool drinking Mai Tais. I get it, but for the rest of us in the real world, it's easy to get what you want and pay for it the way you want to.
My only thing on that is the trail. When I'm at a gun show, I use cash, and
Right.
it's specifically for that.
Right, but my point is if you made a withdrawal at your bank to get the cash out, right, and then you go log on to your bank account 3 days from now, it's going to show that you made a withdrawal for that amount. So it doesn't matter. And then when you pay somebody, it doesn't say you paid a gun store, Tony. What it says is you sent Zelle to this person, and that person has a memo, and you can put whatever you want in it. So, for instance, as a joke, at the last gun show I went and I bought, I think it was 200 pieces of 3040 Krag brass and the powder coated bullets that it goes into. And so I sent a Zelle, and for the memo, it just said, you sent a payment to, Tony York, memo, Freedom Seeds. That's it. Like, you make the
Well, shit,
memo.
now, I might get on board with that just so I can put hookers in beer every time.
Exactly. You can put whatever you
Hookers and
want.
blow.
But the best part is the other person sees the memo when you send the payment. So, like, if you were going to send me money because I'm going to ship you, already made Krag ammo, and you put hookers and blow, I'll get a laugh out of it. But, like, if you send money to somebody else that you don't really know, that you're just buying something from them, they might look at it and go, what the hell was this for? You want to keep it relevant, but you can keep it obscure at the same time.
I don't particularly do relevant.
Wow.
Hey, Jimmy, how's the missus? You miss me?
Fuck you. And cash is king.
Cash
I
is
don't care what
king.
nobody says.
It is. It is sometimes. It is when you go to a show and you find like you find a guy that's willing to make a deal for a cash discount. That's cool. It's just Wanamaker taught me a few things. I had to drive 1,100 miles. Or sorry, one way I had to drive like 590 miles, right? So I'm driving through interstate, stopping, every 300 miles for fuel and something to drink and smokes or whatever at the time. And I'm like, I've got $3,000 in my pocket. And anywhere between my house and Tulsa, what if I got carjacked? What if I got robbed or whatever and I got all this cash on me? It's like, that's kind of unnerving. Okay, I can drive all the way to Tulsa and then take money out at a branch office. That's fine. I could do that. But then still, from the branch office to the show or whatever. And then I'm just walking around with money in my pocket, which I don't have to. And you know, the whole private sale thing at gun shows? What they call the loophole. Anyway, um, those guys even take Zelle. Like, I walked up to a dude. I beat out. You know, I got beat out by a guy, but he was walking around with a Spaz 12 on a sling on his shoulder, and I was in love. And he had this little like golf flag hanging out of the barrel with a price on it. So I was
Look,
reaching over to tap this guy on the shoulder, just as the guy in front of him goes, "Do you take Zelle?" And the guy was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Fuck." So he was like, "All right, how much do I owe you?" And the guy's like, "Here's the part that gets kicked in the pants. I'll take 1,200. Spaz 12 with the hook, 1,200 bucks."
What? Was
Yeah,
the guy like okay? Was he handicapped? Like
no,
mentally?
he wanted 1,200. I'm like,
Wow.
I hate my
Did it
life right
run?
now. Yeah, it was clean. It was clean. But
That
anyway,
is a fucking steal.
yeah. So here's the
I'll
other
tell
thing,
you.
though. I gotta disclose this just because some people are gonna be like, "You can't do that." The first time you Zelle somebody, there's a limit of $500. So what I usually recommend to people is if you can do a couple of short transactions for, you know, like 20, 30, 40 bucks or whatever, like try to get in the habit of doing a few of them. That way when you want to send a larger amount, especially if you do it at certain gun shows where you go to the same sellers every time, your limit will increase once you have like a purchase frequency with certain people. They'll let you send more than 500. So you can do that. But I mean, anything under 500, easy mode. Just boom, done.
I'll tell you, the one big thing I learned at Wanamaker,
Hmm.
the one big thing I learned at Wanamaker is don't take a fucking carry gun in.
The
There's
check-in.
no fucking reason, and you'll stand outside for hours waiting to get in. And when I did it, it was fucking cold, and I wasn't dressed for it.
Wait, so if you got a gun, what do? They search you or something? I mean, like I don't get it. You just there's a longer
Can't-
wait to get in.
You can't take a loaded gun in there, so they have to
They
check.
safety check them.
Oh, they got to safety check every single gun before you. Okay,
Yeah,
that
and
sucks, dick.
the line is incredible. Actually, now that you mention that, Tony, I got a funny story about that. When I went there, I had left Houston at 2 a.m. to drive up there to meet you guys. It was 84 degrees, but I was in jeans with thermals. I had 3 layers on and a full-length flannel in my jacket with me anyway, because by the time I crossed the Texas border at like 7 in the morning, it was 21 degrees, and I had 70 pounds of ice on the front of a little tiny Fiat 500. But when I was standing in line to get in, I was like, you know, just shooting the shit with a couple of dudes in line. And we started walking up, walking up, walking up. It took like an hour. And as I'm standing there, like they've got carry guns on them, or they've got guns that they want to sell on them. And I didn't really think much of it. And so we get up to the doors, and there's a check-in booth. And this guy was like, "Do you have a firearm to check in?" I'm like, "No, I'm just in line to get in." And he goes, "Oh, dude, you could have just went right over there. We just we let people in right there for tickets. This is the line to check in your guns." There was no line to get in. But at least I had a pretty cool
Well, yeah,
conversation with a couple of cool people, so.
it would have been much quicker for me to go back to the vehicle and stick my gun in it and lock it.
Yep.
Believe me, next time I get there, I will not carry a gun unless I'm wanting to sell one,
Yep.
which I don't do. So
Yeah, there was no line to get in. I was kind of pissed, but after a while I was like, whatever.
fuck, my old lady was in and looking around for shit before I got even close to the building.
Hmm. And you know, they say it's the biggest gun show in America, right? And I have to admit, it's large. It is large, but it didn't feel dauntingly large because here in Houston, we have the George R. Brown Convention Center, and a good show there is almost 3/4 the size of the Wanamaker one. Almost. Actually, no. Let me be fair. It's 3/4 of the size of the upstairs part. So, being around that many people with that many tables in that confined of a space is not that big of a deal. That show is 25 times the size of my Pasadena gun shows, though, for sure. But it was fun.
No, I think the Wanamaker thing, part of it's because it's split into two levels,
Yeah.
and the upper level is pretty small compared to the lower level.
I thought
Or
the upper was
yeah,
the bigger one.
no, the lower is.
Because the lower was only on the north side of the building. But the upper went all the way to the back where the gun channels table was. I don't know. Like, I didn't actually get a chance to do the lower level.
The lower level is the size of the whole damn building.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was
That
a
is
little
huge then.
it was a little sparse on the what I think was the south end where the Gatling gun was.
Yeah. Well, somebody told me that the downstairs part was where mostly the reloading stuff was. At the time, I didn't need anything, so I didn't bother. But it is what it is.
If people have not ever been to Wanamaker, it's worth the trip just to see that fucking thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the coolest part about it is how central it is to the country. So um, I did meet somebody in line that had driven from Homer, Alaska, which is where the ferry takes you to Kodiak. But he drove from Homer, Alaska with his wife to Tulsa. That was the farthest drive I think I ran into. And he said he made it in like 60 something hours because he had a Super Duty Ford. It had twin 40-gallon saddle tanks on the frame, and he had a 300-gallon diesel fuel cell in the bed. And he wired an electric switch to it to an electric pump that fed the crossfeed between the two tanks. Or between the two saddle tanks. So what he said was, is they topped off in Homer, they set off, and behind the auxiliary tank was all their stuff, and they had a camper shell. So they just started driving, and he said after about 18 hours, him and his wife switched places. She looks down, she flips the electric switch, it tops off both tanks during the driver change, and then she flips it off and just keeps driving. They didn't make one single fuel stop when they got to Tulsa. And he was like, yeah, we still got almost half a tank, literally, of all three tanks. And he goes, I think we should be able to make it all the way back. I see that. Yes, HVS. Yes, they did have a table. And it was actually kind of nice that they did, because you buy some stuff, you come back to the table, there's always somebody like just sitting or resting because, it's a lot of walking. And you're just like, hey, can I leave this over here with you guys while you're all sitting here? So it was cool. Like, I think I met most of the gun channel's wives or girlfriends while I was there. And I bought my grenade fire Enfield. And I walked up and I'm like, can I bother you ladies about maybe keeping an eye on this so I can walk around a bit? And they're like, no, go right ahead. Just turned around, walked off. Came back like an hour later, cursing.
Of course, my lady had fucking disappeared.
Oh, I was pissed because I brought enough money to buy what I thought to buy one gun. And I had enough left over that I started thinking, maybe I can get another one. So the grenade fire Enfield was on my to-do list, and we got it. And then Night Strike found it, actually. So I thanked him for it while we were walking around. I was walking around with him and Raphael, and that was cool. And then when we got
This
back,
is Wanamaker.
yeah. And then when I walked, after I bought the Enfield, I started walking around and I found a Vetterli Vitali, and I'm like, yes, I need that in my life. It's just weird, and I have to have it. And I was only $100 short, and it didn't occur to me to go. Well, it did. It was like I can go to the ATM, grab the $100, buy the Vitali, have two rifles to come home with. But for some reason, in the back of my mind, I thought, no, I'm not going to have any money left over for the rest of the month if I keep spending all this, because I still had to buy gas and everything on the way home. So I just kept the one gun, put the rest of the money in my pocket, bid everyone farewell, and they were like, "You're leaving already?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to work tomorrow." So on the same day I got there, I turned around and drove all the way back home, and then went to work. But checked my bank account the morning after I got home, and had more than enough money, and was kicking myself the whole day at work. I was like, "Man, I could have had that Vitali." And then I ended up buying. I got one eventually. I got one this year. So we went to Wanamaker, what, almost 4 years ago, Tony? 3 or 4 years, something like
Yeah.
that? Yeah. And yeah, I finally got my Vitali. And then after I bought that, I got excited and bought the Dutch Beaumont Vitali too. So now I've got the breeding pair.
But had you checked the bank account, you could have got it right there, and that kind of makes you wonder if Dad's really off the mark or wanting to check his all the time or not.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I didn't get a chance to watch it because I did. You probably saw it in your feed since some of you are subscribed to me. But I did like another one of those penny arcades last night. But at the same time, I noticed G's been doing this thing called like 2A Week in Review, and I kind of like the idea because what I notice he's doing is he's cataloging like points of interest in the media and YouTube for the week. And I was just curious if you guys knew if you made it onto the show or not since you made your comeback this week.
I don't have any idea. He did comment on our first show.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be cool, if you guys got a bit more exposure that way. I think you're onto something again, so that's good. And I noticed you
I
were talking about
really,
the retention, which is awesome too.
I don't pay that much attention to shit that's going on. I don't know about Jimmy, but I people turn up, they turn up.
Hmm.
Hopefully, we get like 12 million subscribers so we can get in on that big YouTube money boat. But I ain't holding my breath.
Well, uh, I mean, Demo Ranch finally hit 10 million, and earlier this week he had posted a picture. He says of 1/6 of his gun collection, 1/6, and he had those plastic fold-out tables like you see at gun shows, and it went the full length of the exposure of the photo he took, and there must have been at least 300 rifles on that table, at least. And he said that was only 1/6. I'm like, Jesus, I gotta step up my game. And I was
I
starting to
don't.
feel pretty good getting close to triple digits. I'm like, yeah, I've got a collection now. Some idiot's going to call this an arsenal on the news.
Yeah, I don't discuss what I have except for like in these chats and shit.
Yeah, which
But
is
I
out on
don't
the internet, so
don't
everyone knows now.
I don't say how many I have. I don't think I've ever admitted how many I
Yeah.
have.
as long as you don't go postal, you're good to go.
I ain't going postal. Ammunition costs too much fucking money.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of,
I'm just saying everybody's worried about arsenals, and you're going, well, if the guy just collects a nice, firearms and stuff, doesn't mean that he can use 300 firearms at one time,
Yep, got two hands.
so
Kind of why I buy everything in twos.
so the other thing I
Exactly.
noticed that you guys were discussing was you needed like a repository, a place to dump your content material for upcoming shows. So, I don't know if you're aware, but I sort of cleaned up the server a little bit, and I'm gonna scroll down here so you can see it. But like I took some of the redundant channels out, but I gave you guys one. It should be right here. It's called Early Watch Stuff, and that way I know that you were talking about the old worksheet, which is great because you could do it like a spreadsheet, but you can literally do everything in the channel the same way. You just go into to there, and then you could pull up like a link and just paste it in your channel like this.
Yes.
And now I'm showing this to people on the stream. So like I went in there and I stuck something in there. That way you guys can catalog whatever you want for, future
Oh
shows
yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Texas HG 1927. Yep, I
Yeah.
see it.
So like y'all can do that too. I mean, you can stick pictures in there, texts, links, just show ideas or whatever. And then like if you wanted to, you can lay out like 10 topics. And then if you don't like it, you can edit that back, or you can just delete the whole thing and start over if you wanted to.
So I could, instead of fucking wasting paper and doing all this dumb shit that I've been doing,
Mm.
I could just write it in here. I could put like 10 topics in there. Tony don't like one, he could change it out.
Yeah.
That type of shit. Vice versa.
We
'Cause
ever
look,
agreed on a topic?
no, never. That's why they work out good. But hold on, where's my camera at? How do I turn my here? Looky here. This is what my show notes usually look like.
Turn your camera sideways. There you go.
Better.
Good God, man. It's like Diary of Jay Leto's or Jared Leto's Joker. What the hell?
No, I'm not a what you call it. I'm organized thoughts. I don't have organized thoughts.
It's what is it? Organized chaos. I tell people that's what my desk looks like. It's organized chaos. Everything is just right over here.
Organization is overrated.
It is. It's like you call it a horde and a pile and a mess. I call it a oh yeah, this is just right. Oh, there it is. Stuff like
Hey,
that.
I know where everything's at. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, until I want something.
Oh yeah, then I'll lose it immediately.
So are you guys pretty much set for Monday?
We haven't even discussed Monday yet. We're going to do that later today or tomorrow, depending on when he's free.
Right.
Give me some ice. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
All right. Because
I'm always ready.
I figured, in some of the descriptions of my This Old Gat videos, like I don't know if like some of the people watching, because like I didn't even know HVS was subscribed to me. That's fantastic. But anyway, I do this thing called This Old Gat, and yeah, I use the original This Old House music, which was free to use because the original song was made in the 20s, which is great. Um, but yeah, like I take old milsurps and old rifles and pistols and whatever, and I recondition them, more or less on camera. And YouTube's got these rules where you can't do it video, but I can do it in photo montages, and they seem to be totally cool with it. And that's getting like part of me wants to say that's getting expensive, which it is because I'm buying a new rifle literally like every 7 or 8 days. But I'm running out of space. Like I'm running out of physical space, so I have to go vertical. So I bought all these wall mounts from a company called Hold Up, and I'm going to be mounting 12 rifles up on the wall. So I'll have my own C and Arsenal wall. But I can't film those as often as I'd like to, just because I got to buy every gun I'm doing. So I've been sort of filling it all in with I'll probably make a habit of doing this at least on Saturdays. Like we'll run it for like an hour or two on Saturday. And I could be doing gun reviews, but range time is a difficulty right now. It's like not a luxury I have, especially with the heat. I can't go to the outdoors in this kind of heat. And then I just do the penny arcades. So
you're fucking telling me about this heat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my warehouse yesterday was 141 degrees, and I had to be up there for like 3 hours. It was Kandahar, essentially.
I spent like 10 days at my daughter's with the sole intention of doing a bunch of shooting. I didn't shoot a fucking round because every goddamn day it was way into the 100 heat index. Fuck them. And there's no shade.
So I got this, I use Steam, for my gaming or whatever and downloading. And, every once in a while they'll have a pop-up and it'll say like, this publisher is on sale, or so-and-so is on sale, or this whole series is on sale. And one of the publishers I like is a company called Chucklefish. I think they're the ones I'm thinking of. They do like Stardew Valley. Anyway, they said that their whole thing was on sale, so I went through the list of the stuff that they had, and I bought all of it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I could see myself playing that and that and that and that. So the next thing I knew is I just bought like 10 new things. So I know it's going to drive some people crazy, but I'm going to have a shitload of new penny arcades coming soon because I've got all the material. And it's what you can do on a hot day when you're trapped indoors. So I don't know. Like some people like it. I like editing those videos because recording them is easy. But like I don't know if you've watched any of them, but I like to play with the intros on those. So like for instance, I did Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection for the last 2 weeks, and what I was doing is every intro with the splash screen and like the thumbnail and all that, I was backdropping it with original soundtracks from the original games from 30 years ago. So like I get to like pair them off and stuff, and it's kind of fun. Like it's if you don't have fun doing it, you shouldn't be doing it, right? Like if it feels like a job, then it's not a hobby. And for me, it still feels like a hobby, which is great. And
That whole sentiment is exactly why the early watch disappeared.
well, yeah, you said that the burnout is real, for sure. I mean, when before the early watch, there was the Daily Gun Show at noon. And what I would do is, at the time for Google Hangouts, I would host a lobby before uh, the Daily Gun Show. Sorry, I don't know why I had a hard time saying that. And then I would hand it off to the Daily Gun Show. I would shut down my stream lobby, and when he was done, he would hand it back off, and then I would run another lobby until I had to leave work, which worked out great because that's back in the day when gun channels had a working chat box on the front page, so everybody knew it was going on, which was great. And then the early watch eventually, you guys eventually popped up, and it was a daily thing. And then when you guys went off the air, then I would lobby, and then I would hand it off to G. Or sometimes your early watch ran long enough that you handed it off to G, and then I didn't have to do anything until after that. So my lobbies got 4 hours instead of 8 hour LPs or whatever. And then when Jimmy got abducted by aliens in the great deserts of Arizona for multiple years, uh, then I did that Good Morning Gun Channels thing. And I got to tell you, I mean, I did that one solo, and it was daunting because you guys know you do it together. You have the luxury of bouncing ideas off each other. So your show prep load was, I'd say, 50%. But you did it every day for a lot longer than I did it, I think. And, my show prep was before I went to bed. So, like, I'd get off of work, I'd have to sort out family issues and dogs and house and whatever and dinner and all that shit. And then it'd be 10 o'clock, and I'd start doing show prep. And then it'd be like 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, no, this is good enough. I have to go to bed. And I was trying to figure out ways to keep it interesting because you do it every day. You kind of meander through a few topics, but there's sometimes like a space where you wish there was something in between that you could feed it. And you're like, fuck it, we'll just go on to this. And it's like, I started adding things like, you guys used to do the trivia thing. You should bring that back. Um, I did stuff like the trivia and this day in history or this day in 2A history type of a thing. And I had a pretty good source for that. And I think I did it long enough to where I almost went a full calendar year, which means had it gone and rolled over in a year, I would have eventually had to have gone back and just, rehash the same history, which probably would have sucked. But at least it was something. But I mean, I know burnout because I went through it too. And I'm like, this is a lot of work. Plus, I was doing it while I was doing my day job. So it was
Yeah,
like I
that
had two
I
people.
would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
But see, it was
I can't
more.
believe I
That's why
got
when I
away
do
with it.
the history, when I do the history thing, I'll go to like military history or something like that, and I'll just do
Yeah.
one thing for the day, and then that way, see, because how the early watch was, you can see how we were getting because I had to split it up into seasons from when we took extended breaks.
Right.
So the first season we got through like 98 episodes, and then 2 months of you didn't hear from us again. And then starting into the second season, we did like 84 episodes. and then you didn't hear from us again for another couple months, and then you started doing the show for us. It was the impromptu early watch or some shit like that, whatever the fuck you called it.
Oh, where I remote
And
hosted.
yeah, me and
Yeah.
Tony were still hosting, but you were just running an 8-hour lobby.
Yeah.
And then we
You know,
started back doing the shows again on my channel, and then the third season was like 64 shows, and then we went on a 3 year. Let's just call it 3 years. It was a little less, but a 3 year hiatus.
That was that time when you boarded the Event Horizon.
Yeah, and they dropped me off in fucking Nevada.
you know what people may not realize is how much mental stress there is looking up all the fucking bad 2A news every goddamn day.
Well, is it stress or is it just disheartening to have to read those things?
It's stress.
So like part of good
Me,
journalism
it got
is
not. That
separating
was my
yourself.
problem.
Right, but I mean, like part of good journalism is separating yourself from the story. So it's hard to swallow the emotions and read the story. But if you're a natural at it, it's a skill that you'll never lose. You know, you have to like put it on the shelf and put it out there, even though it annoys you or pisses you off or saddens you or whatnot. Like for instance, you know, our House Bill 1927 here in Texas, I had discovered that if the state Congress is in session and the bill goes to the governor's desk and it sits for 10 days unsigned, it quietly passes into law. However, the stipulation I wasn't aware of is if the Congress is out of session, it doubles the time. So it has to sit on the governor's desk for 20 days. But it's still going to pass, I'm sure. Right up until I got up this morning and heard about 13 people getting shot and wounded in Austin, the capital of Texas, where the bill is supposed to be signed. And I'm just like, how convenient that this bullshit seems to happen right before we're about to cross the finish line. My local news,
Well,
you know, 200 miles away, where I am, it was nothing but shootings in the news. And I'm just like, wow, driving a narrative much? Is there
well,
really nothing else to talk about?
it's that way here too. So I think that's a national thing now that
Yeah.
Biden's in office. Yeah, me reading the stuff on air wasn't the problem. It was the actual going and finding it.
Mm.
Yeah, where do you get a reliable source of news? Everybody seems to have a slant.
Actually, one of the better ones was Ammo Land.
Al Jazeera.
And then there was another one I used, guns.com, but I think they went away.
Did you ever use Truth About Guns?
Maybe I looked at a lot of them.
I used that one for the 1927 news. I would use GOA's news site or their info page, and I would use Truth About Guns because they tend to detail and leave a lot of links and like works cited type things where you can fall back and check their sources to verify if they're just making this shit up or not. And generally, a site like them, they're trying to maintain some integrity. So, like, it's decent. Truth About Guns.
The whole point for me behind the Early Watch Nation thing with all the different Early Watch emails was so I didn't have to go through and read all that shit. Because I was only interested in stuff that was really relevant to everybody. But, there's so much little piddly bullshit that just, you're like, what the fuck? And it was every goddamn day.
I think going back to the news thing too, I'm kind of more on Teddy's side to where it's kind of all bullshit. And that was sort of like the initial point of the early watch, I guess, was to, pretty much, you listen to the earlier shows, fuck, God bless you, but it was just pretty much babbling off news stories and then saying how much it was bullshit or trying to, put our own spin on their spin. Because I'm still under the impression no matter what the fuck news we go to, the best two-way source, whatever, there's still going to be some kind of agenda involved.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, the best
And
2A source for 2A news is 2A people, obviously.
I still want.
Exactly.
Like you're not gonna.
Exactly. That was the whole initial us coming together as a community and whatever I wrote in the description,
Hmm.
the whole point.
Yeah, you're not gonna
That's
get
yeah.
2A news from Moms Demand Attention.
I still want everybody out there that's got an early watch email to send me news that they run across in their state, so I don't have to go find it.
Mm.
I may
They're
not
still
use it
alive.
on the
You
air.
know? They're still alive and out there. I seen them. I seen a few early watch Californias on Instagrams, and I seen Instagram or early watch Michigan.
You know,
They're out there.
I'm not necessarily going to put everything that comes in out there because you know completely up to me what I think is relevant. Uh, but I don't want to look for it. I, honest to God, do not want to go looking for that shit anymore.
So you need you need the early watch version of a paralegal to go and do the clerk work.
That was exactly the idea behind each state having an early watch state email,
Hmm.
so that
Yeah,
they
but
can
what we really need is a producer and that website to them fake accounts, and then we'll be fine.
look. We ain't going with the artificial subscribers. Got to have some integrity.
I just think it'd be hilarious all of a sudden wake up to fucking 10,000 subs or something like that. Everybody the fuck else is doing it.
I don't want to pick a scab or rip the band-aid off, but man, there was a lot of people that we used to chat with and we used to watch and we used to be cohorts with that have gone down that dark path just to reach 1,000 subs, and it wasn't even for the right reasons. They wanted super chat.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
like,
that was the initial joke. We don't. I don't. If this isn't, and if the early watch is anything but fucking natural, or and organic, it ain't the early watch.
Well, I've always been really vocal about the money side of it. Now, the last couple of shows, I did some joking about it, but money has absolutely nothing to do with me doing early watch. I don't give a fuck. I got enough money to get by.
Let me
Uh,
interrupt you before I forget, Tone. Please let me interrupt you real quick. Hey, anybody out there that forgot or still giving to the old Patreon that we had? Don't. I don't even have the same bank account anymore. And I tried to log in to shut it down, and I can't even. I don't even remember what the fucking password that I put in there was. So
you
if
got to lay
anybody is
off
in
that.
there,
You
blow
got to
that
lay
off.
off that fucking booze.
It was fucking almost 3 years ago, man. I forgot. I forgot.
Maybe
So
you'd
yeah,
remember if you'd log in and do the show once in a while.
yeah, that too. But I mean, we appreciate everybody that did that. We love all our fans and friends of the show and all that shit. We appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not doing it this go around at all. Not even gonna mess with it. And if anybody is still doing it, double check if you didn't, forgot to fucking do it or whatever. Don't give fucking Patreon money for nothing.
Yeah, well, that shit I never was interested in, so I had no part of it. And I really get wanting help to pay for the internet and shit like that, Jimmy. I really do, and I don't have a problem with that. But
No, that's
that
what it
was
did. Yeah, that's what it did. I mean, that's what the Patreon that we did have. But I mean, I don't want it to not even give the appearance because people that know better. But we're not out here for that. We ain't out here for that. We're out here to spread information, hopefully come together. If we do get 1,000 or plus subscribers, that's great. But I want it organically because I want whatever message that anybody takes out of it, that's what I want to spread. It ain't
I've been
about
there
us.
all along.
I I
Yeah,
lost subscribers this week. It was
yeah.
painful. It was sad. I guess they were like, "Man, this guy's only playing video games. I'm out of here." I was like, wait for the notifications. Like, I rewarded
Yeah.
you after a week of Penny Arcades. I rewarded you with this gorgeous Arasaka that I restored. It's like, what
Well,
do you want from
if
me?
the early watch starts dropping video games, somebody has fucking kidnapped me and brainwashed me or something.
Actually, you know what's funny? Once upon a time, when we did the Hangouts lobbies, some people actually got into that World of Warships thing because it was visually, historical warships or whatever. Like, there's a place for it. Let's be honest. I think you and me and Jimmy were talking about this before. You can only talk about what we talk about so much, in so many hours of the day. You can't be so one dimensional. Like, the reason that you and Jimmy work is because you're like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. You're polar opposites. And that's why it works. The reason we all get together. I called the lobby we're in is called Lobby for Working Stiffs. Like, we should have been in the live show stream channel, but I just did it up here anyway because you guys were here before I started. But the Lobby for Working Stiffs works because there's tradesmen, there's IT guys, there's people turning tricks. I don't know what you do when the lights go out, but everyone's here and doing something different, and yet here we all are because of the same
That was
common hobby.
private.
Well, hey, I thought the gigolo thing because every time you turn on your camera, you ain't wearing a shirt these days, so it's just like, just get off of
It's hot
work.
in this fucking hot in
That
this
don't
camp, man.
work. That don't work because his old lady likes me better,
Right.
and I got shirt on.
It's just something about those Tony's eyes, man. Something.
What can I say?
But yeah, though, I mean, I don't want to make it. We ain't trying to hijack. It ain't all about the fucking early watch or nothing like that. But
Yes,
I
it
just
is.
want to clarify it to whoever's listening, whatever.
No, it's fine, dude.
And go
It's a
subscribe.
topic. That's the whole point of this.
Go subscribe to the early watch too.
Yeah.
Hella
Yeah, if you're
fun.
subscribed to me and you're not subscribed to the early watch, go do it. Like, let me see if
Hey,
I can.
I'll tell you what. If we get 1,000 subscribers the early watch by Monday, I'll give the 1,000th one a box of ammo. Nah, that's bribery. I shouldn't do that.
You just did the thing that you said you wouldn't do. Like, I'm not gonna try to like sweet talk people for 1,000 subs, and there you go. If we get 1,000 subs,
You get 1,000 subs, you guys. I can't tell you on Pwnery's podcast what we're gonna do.
there are legalities involved with that, sir. I know you're in the state where whoring is legal, but come on now.
Yeah. Hey, seriously, I'm 30 minutes from legal prostitutes and then 30 minutes from Mexico. So what's up, guys? What do you want to do?
All right,
Hookers and blow.
How the hell
see
is
if I
30
can make
minutes
this
from
work.
Mexico?
Probably like an hour.
I'm gonna try to make this work for a second. Let's see, share my screen. All right, so okay, so you guys over here, you need to go to this channel right here. Now, Jimmy, do you notice how it's actually showing on the screen? This is that thing that I was showing you in the video earlier. Like, you should be able to see the stream on here in the panel view. You want to go to this
It'll
channel
take
right
a while
here.
to hear.
It is spelled slightly obscure, but you get the point. And you want to go right over here and click this button right here. Especially if you're sub to me, you want to go sub over here too. Otherwise, you won't get to hear these two guys on Mondays and Fridays. But if
It's Earl Lee. It's not that fucking tough, Tone.
well, no, I got it on my screen so they can see it. But
Well, it took me a fucking week to find it.
so I'm gonna do the thing
Yeah,
that befuddled Jimmy yesterday. If I click here, it says my stream is still running. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Like, it disappears, right? So, once you save your page the way you want it, then you definitely want to alt-tab back over to the main program, and then it comes back. So now everyone watching the stream gets to see this. So this is your channel. This is your subscribe button. Make sure you guys go hit that. Otherwise, they're not going to grow. That's the whole point. And then I could just hit this, and there it goes. And now we're back. Easy. One of these days, we're going to have to teach Teddy how to give himself an avatar.
All right. I'll do it. I had it up there.
Oh,
On
you
everything.
know what? I haven't asked you this yet. Did you eat a chicken chalupa?
No.
What the hell's the matter with you? Hang on.
They keep making the Nacho Bel Grande for me free
Look,
with extra guacamole and extra sour cream.
look. I'm gonna share my screen.
Like,
Right there. Okay, right there. See it? This right here. This. You need this in your life. You need this in your belly. Right here. This is a chicken chalupa.
Where are you showing your screen at?
Right in front of you, dude.
Takes a minute for it to pop up for those of us who are in the freaking boonies internet-wise.
Oh, just make sure you're on the channel that says Lobby for Working Stiffs, Teddy. Like, click the words Lobby for Working Stiffs so you get to see the panel view.
I'm on it.
You see it?
Okay, panel view.
Yeah, you see it? Are you on your Kindle or on your computer?
My Kindle.
Oh, you probably can't see this.
Okay, got it. Lobby for working show. Okay, I see. Watch stream. Got it.
All right, so take a look. This is what you want right here.
Yeah?
This is what you want. Right, this. You want this. You want to eat this.
Okay.
Do you see it?
The regular chalupa or the naked chalupa?
The chicken regular one. Right here,
Okay.
this one. That's what you want.
It don't work for me because I don't like chicken.
Put it in your belly.
Taco Bell chicken meat is good.
Taco Bell, if you're seeing
And
this,
you said
send me some chalupas.
Taco
add
Bell.
2 hot
Yeah,
fire sauces.
exactly. One of those with 2 fire sauces. Epic. It's like the
Better
my favorite
go
thing
right
there.
now, Teddy, before you forget it.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing there. Like, actually, you know what? For Teddy, it's going to be chicken chalupa with 2 fire sauces squirted into it with 3 Prevagen, like, pushed into the meat.
All right. Yeah.
Sprinkled some powderized ginkgo on top while you're at it.
Might as well shoot a Viagra in there too.
Hey. It's almost like Rick and his at-home maid service or whatever when he was in Rhode Island. He's like, yeah, stand on that ladder and reach right up there and dust the top. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Your droid getting Viagra for me, as I'm on Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I have government insurance.
Mhm.
He said, if I prescribe this for you, the government will be paying for your sex. I said, holy shit, that just, with Viagra, that'll make your dick go limp.
Oh, look, it's Knives. Listen.
I was waiting to see how long that was going to take you to notice.
Listen, Knives, we're about to have an intervention with you because I have sent you 500,000 invites and you have yet to click on one. So the question I have for you is, what the hell?
There's Buddy, what's going on? Jesus Christ, I just seen him.
Yeah. Like, you are welcome to be here anytime you want and shoot the shit with the rest of us. You can be on here right now. Anyway. Yeah. Email me at the link on the stream. Okay, there.
What's up? We're glad to see that you're still alive.
I knew he was
Did you
still
and Jimmy
alive.
get abducted by the same fucking alien ship?
Like, I've sent him enough invite codes where I'm just like, okay, he must have new friends now. Like, whatever he's doing, it's with other people now. So.
Well, maybe he was on the boat with Jimmy getting probed.
So what was it like on the Event Horizon, Knives?
They didn't probe, but by the way, they just asked questions.
Yeah, you lying bastard.
Not when I got back, I farted like this. Ooh.
Oh,
Sound like that.
it's a hell of a probe, man.
It was a big one.
That alien was like, that wasn't a probe. Did he have cold, slimy, three-fingered hands on either side of your hips?
That
It
dude
wasn't a
had 3
probe.
arms.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. If he's got a hand on either side of my hips, what's this? I think you've finally discovered the third genital. So there is a third gender. When they're like, you have to respect my gender. Show me a third genital. Because the only guy I know who's ever felt one is Jimmy. Because he got abducted on the Event Horizon. As they showed him the rings of Uranus.
Jeez.
You know, and speaking of which, that's people are kind of like trees in that. That's what I learned. You count the rings and figure out how old they are.
Yeah, but you know, the American criminal justice system doesn't really take too kindly to you taking a person and cutting him in half to read the rings.
Oh, you don't got to cut them in half. You just find out through the asshole.
That's way more information than I need.
I don't think it's real. I made it up. I'm pretty sure.
Man, this almost feels like 4 years ago.
Anybody
No,
want?
No.
you're not day drinking yet.
I would like to say one last thing about the early watch for people who are curious. The early watch is basically 2 guys shooting the shit about stuff they find interesting.
Hmm.
There might be some news there, although I try to avoid that shit. But it's just me and Jimmy shooting the shit.
I think that's going to be a topic for the next one too. Aliens, guns that you would use in an alien invasion.
44 Magnum, baby. Every day.
What if there's 3 aliens?
I don't give a shit.
You might get 2 with that thing.
That thing, my ass, I got 6 of them.
Hold on, you better fill your hands, you son of a bitch.
You betcha. Fill your hands, you son of a bitch.
At least you still got both your eyes, though. That's a good thing.
They ain't working too damn good these days.
I'm gonna have to save this picture and share it with you then.
So, you didn't realize that I have a Smith & Wesson 629 and a 29? You really got to stop missing fucking meetings.
You still got your Ruger?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I got 2 Vaqueros in 44 Magnum. Here I go breaking my rule about discussing what the fuck I got.
The Vaqueros are single shots, ain't it? Or the single action?
Yeah. So is the first Ruger.
That one you blew up?
Yep.
That was crazy.
Hey, after watching fucking Kentucky Ballistics, my blow up was nothing.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that 50 was fucking 500 times hotter than what it was supposed to be? Or what was it, 200 times hotter than what it was supposed to be?
I just cracked the cylinder on the goddamn thing.
Oh. Them guns are built, boy.
Yeah, well, I ain't ever gonna own anything in 50 caliber, except for maybe freaking Kentucky long rifle or some shit like that.
Yeah, if you got it's a little bit late in life for you to get a 50 now. If you try to shoot one of those, your shoulder will be down by your knees.
That'll be fine. He'll be
Get a tripod.
fine.
Fucking 44 is more than enough for my taste.
Spicy little pepper.
That son of a bitch, if I shoot it 30 times, I'll be fucking wanting to lay up for a couple of days.
It's like you just been in battle and shit.
Oh, okay. Knives, if you probably will see multiple invites, take the last one because it was a permanent one. I'm pretty sure. So I am privy to a bit of intel here, and I would like to share with you a very candid photo of Tony and all his pistols on his way to heading out to the grocery store. And it's right here. Though I suspect that he's actually carrying light that day.
I
All I
didn't
see
think I ever allowed pictures of me to be taken.
I'm pretty sure that's you. Or if you'd like, what I can do is I can just...
No, those aren't revolvers.
Oh, there's a couple of them on that chest rig. Like, for real. I'll even put it in meme vomit.
What's going on in here?
We're streaming live.
Oh, that's why you have your YouTube voice on.
No,
I was like,
this is-
Pwnery's talking a certain way, and I don't know what's going on when I popped in here.
Oh, it's a different headset, that's
You hear
all.
what he's saying, and he's coherent, and he's talking.
Yeah, this headset at home is way better than the one I use at work.
Caught him in the 3-hour pocket of being sober.
That's a thing. No, not always.
Well, good morning, boys.
Hello. What's up?
Ladies, gentlemen. I don't know who's in here.
We're trying to
Man,
convince
it's fucking
Good morning.
Knives to get off his ass and jump in, so there you go.
What's the premise of this stream thing?
Yeah, we're just lobbying it.
Where the fuck has Jimmy been?
Oh,
And
Was it-
Knives now, he showed up.
I was telling people about how I'm whoring myself out.
All right, Tony, if you didn't see it earlier, I just put it in meme vomit for you. It's the bottom picture.
Yeah, I'll
make
get to look at it
t-shirts.
at some point.
Where
I see-
would
I-
Jimmy be?
See the great big white beard, so that just fucking leaves it out for me.
Oh no, what we discovered was about 3 years ago or so, he was abducted by aliens in Arizona, and they took him to the rings of Uranus, and they dropped him back off in Nevada recently. That's why he's back. He's the only person to go on the event horizon and survive and come back. So
If you want to call it surviving. Hard to live after that.
you should have told them bastards to give you your shirt back.
No, that's one thing I didn't need. I'm free now, Sean. You know, because you can't, you don't have my freedom.
I can't grow facial hair like that, man. You need to do some Photoshop on that puppy.
Photoshop?
I was in a bit
What
of
you
a
mean? What's
I can
wrong
do
with my?
white stubble, all right, but I can't do that full beard shit.
Oh, you're talking about the Boondock Saints guy? Yeah, that'd be a perfect rig for you.
I used to have the name of the company that made that.
They put a little hump in your back, but I think you'll be all right.
It's pretty well if you
I
look
already
at the
got
way it's set
that.
up. That thing must be very hot to wear because it's like a big leather apron with a bunch of holsters stitched to it, essentially, and cinched up real tight against your back. Like that would be fairly uncomfortable, I suspect. No bourbon for
I'd rock
McLaren.
it.
Wah, wah. Gavin called it my YouTube voice. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not Rod Roddy when I come home. Just a
It does
different-
kind of change a little bit to a hey everybody, how you doing? How you doing over here? No,
The one I use at work is Bluetooth, so it always sounds a little foggy compared to this.
Shit, I thought that was just you.
Mm-mm. I mean, like at work, it's 2 fans, 2 nagging women, a bunch of tape guns, and my drill. So it's gonna be different.
Two twisted iced teas.
Yeah.
We're certainly familiar with the drill and the tape guns. We heard them really well.
Yeah. Once Discord really locked down that noise suppression thing, it helped a lot. Like, it got to the point, even Gavin does it now. You can tell when your noise suppression feature was turned off. Like, for some reason, I don't know if it's butt dial or whatever, but every once in a while I'll jump in and the noise suppression is off. And like, I think Teddy said it yesterday. He was like, "Man, I hadn't heard that drill in a long time." And I'm like, "What?" And I looked at the thing and it was off. So usually I tell people if they're in here, make sure it's on, because sometimes it turns it off and you don't even know it. But I mean, this whole program is a work in progress until, like, I heard Microsoft bought Discord. So it's just a matter of time, maybe, before they screw it up. As far as the beta test team goes, though, like, they haven't told us anything. Like, it's just business as usual, which is great. So we'll continue to use it as long as we can.
I did a whole shitload of beta testing for Microsoft. Some of it was fucking cool as hell, and some of it was just, God, fucking waste of programming.
Mm-hmm.
They did some remote camera control stuff that was fucking amazing.
Yep, now they share it with every doorbell camera and Nest out there in the country. Oh, speaking of, if you own an Amazon Alexa, you are being monitored now. Like, that whole shared bandwidth thing through the Alexa network started a couple days ago. So if you didn't opt out, they're listening to you. More than before. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the rest of my weekend.
Alexa, erase porn collection.
Now deleting director's cut of Smurfs. Now deleting Disney Library.
Alexa's reply would be yours or mine.
Oh.
And you guys hear me and Alexa get into a very physical fight. Stop hitting me, Jimmy.
I thought you loved me. Actually,
He only hits me because he loves me so much. It's his passion.
there's a drum and bass track from a guy called Shock One. It's called "Follow Me." I won't play it because I know it's not for all of you. But what I'll do is I'll put a link in Meme Vomit, and when you get a free chance, you should really hear it, because it is that. It is the very thing we're talking about, like taking over, Alexa basically running the show, or Siri running the show. The whole song is recorded in Siri's voice, and it's crazy because it's like she's talking about how she wants everyone to follow you on all your socials, and if you're not, then go to hell basically, and do everything until you go insane. It's one of those tracks that you can play while you're in a getaway. Like, that's what got me into that music in the first place. Is I used to call it getaway drivers music, which was really funny because the guy that I first told that to is a friend that I grew up with since we were like 7 years old when I first moved to this neighborhood, and he was like, so he went to England and he came back years later, and he's like, so what kind of music you into? And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's the kind of music you hear in getaway scenes in movies. And he goes, oh man, I'm about to change your life. And I'm like, what's that? And he told me that when he was in the UK, that's all he did was DJ drum and bass, and he sort of like opened it up to me. But then as I got older, I found out that it's very kaleidoscopic. Like, there's different ways there's different types of it. So like, there's the original one was like jungle, and then like the ones I listen to is like, it's called deep soul or liquid drum and bass, which is freaking awesome. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you load up a playlist and you can make the trip to Wanamaker in. And you would always have something to listen to keep you busy if you weren't doing a stream.
What error message are you getting, Knives?
It could possibly be that my invite is too old now. Let me try to send you a new one. Well, actually, let me see if your account number or name. Are you still Mr.Knive without the S on the end? Because if you are, I'll just send you a new one now. Screw it. I'll just do it now anyway. All right. I just sent one to that. So, like, if you see it, go ahead and try that one. It could have just been that the other one is expired or whatever.
Sometimes this Discord's a fickle mistress.
Well, it's not. It is and it isn't. So, like, basically, whoever was watching the stream just got to see how to do an invite. So, there's a quick little tutorial.
I put my avatar up there for you.
Yes, you did. What is it?
Dodecahedron.
Well, it's something.
There's only 8 shapes known to man, and the most complicated is the dodecahedron.
Uh-huh.
You have a square, a circle, you
Mhm.
know, there's only 8 shapes.
All right, so the task for us today, I'm going to let this run another 40 minutes. The task for today is, will Knives make it in time? Dun dun dun.
Hey, Knives, just in case you don't, we restarted doing the early watch
Mhm.
and get with Jimmy on how to find it because it's fucked up.
Knives is he's already subbed to our channel. He should be all right.
All right, Knives, just email me at that email address at the bottom of the screen, and I'll send you it that way. Like, I'll handle it that way.
Yeah, he's getting frustrated.
Don't turn into my mom with her phone and bill pay. I've had to deal with that enough today.
Just paste him a fucking link into the YouTube chat.
I could do that, but it may put other people in here.
His Knives click it immediately, and we put it on there. You got 2 seconds before it's deleted.
Oh, wait, you know what? You're right. I can do that. I can do that. I will do that, actually. Here, give me a second. Ooh, cool.
See, Knives, I'm still looking out for you, buddy.
All right. Here. Try that.
See, it'll be over and done with before I even see the fucking link. There it is.
Well, there is a delay, obviously, between the two.
Especially here where I'm tied in with 2 cell phones.
Oh, and if anyone's curious how this setup works, like, if you have questions on the chat, you can ask. I'll try to answer them. The one thing I will suggest, though, is if you do it this way, if that one doesn't work, then I don't know what the deal is, dude. Like, are you doing it from your computer or from a phone? Because, like, if you're doing it from a computer, it should just take. Like, that link should be good. Like, that's how I got Jimmy in here.
Huh.
And by God, if he can get Jimmy in here, anybody should be able to fucking make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm partially the R word.
It's uplinked to that fucking alien ship on a different planet, whatever the fuck. You ain't ever living that shit down, James. Don't fucking think it's gonna happen.
I'm not trying to live it down, Tony. I'm just trying to show everybody that I'm the same person, but different, but still the same.
We can't prove that. You know, you could be fucking alien.
Knives, I can't fix your problem if you can't tell me what the error is. That's the hardest
Why
part. You got a new
why
PC. Okay, so if you downloaded the app, or if you downloaded the program on your computer, and you have it installed, and you created your username and your stuff like that, then if you use that link right there that's in the chat box, your program should open and it should ask you, do you want to join this? If not, tell you what, if it doesn't work that way, right, just email me at the address at the bottom of my screen here on the stream. And then tell me what your username is for your PC for that account. And then I'll send you an invite that way because it'll be tailored to you directly.
Fortunately, I've already been doing these lobby chats, or I'd have never found the cocksucker either.
I am glad that you actually got a new PC, though. That's great because now you're capable of doing all this stuff. It's probably a lot more modern than the setup you had before.
Well, like I said before, this fucking Discord thing is a fickle goddamn mistress. I have all kinds of trouble whenever it wants to update.
Every single time I turn on my computer, it turns on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a problem, but it's been cool for me.
I think it has.
Once I learned how to do everything, it's been pretty easy to, like manipulate the shit and like move where I want to move. And it's pretty.
Maybe it's an age cap, Jimmy. Like maybe if it says if over 50, give hard time.
No,
But-
because Knives is
I'm
younger
than me.
Well, yeah, but we don't know what turtle years to human years translates to. Like he could be 300 for all we know.
Oh,
No,
but
turtles, you got to cut in half and count the rings.
Yeah.
You can't tell from,
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Knives. We're gonna have to split your skull and take out your otoliths.
Now, we've been determined that counting rings is done internally through the anus. At least according to Jimmy.
Well, we're born.
Yeah, but we don't know how turtles work, though. We got to cut them in half, I think.
Yeah, you gotta split the skull right down the middle and take out that bone that's in the ear, and then cut that in half and count the rings. That's how it works. Les Grossman
This is still coming back to that whole turtles on the half
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah, that's the right address. Les Grossman going scorched earth at gmail.com. I made that email address as a joke between Patrick and I because he picked an email address that calls himself Tug Speedman. And if you don't know who Les Grossman is and Tug Speedman is, I can't help you.
Well, that would be me.
You've never seen Tropic Thunder.
Fuck no.
Oh, dude. You have missed out on a genuinely good movie. That's not true, Knives. I'm 42. I'm the answer to life, the universe, and everything in between right now.
See, he can barely remember how fucking old he is, and he's here.
Well, no, he was saying if you're over 30, you're screwed.
I can read what he's fucking saying. I do this like I do the early watch, man. I watch the fucking YouTube chat. Try to keep track of shit that's going on, questions and whatnot. And, because I can never tell where the fuck Jimmy's at. Like I said, man, you ain't ever fucking living this down.
I'm in the ether, so don't worry about it.
Ain't worried about it.
Right then.
I'm more concerned with what your lady thinks.
Oh, she got 1 foot in the hole I'm about to dig for her, so don't even worry about that.
You are.
She might not be around in season 5. Yeah, she's not going to make it to season 5, I don't think.
She
Stay
better.
tuned. Stay tuned,
She's a lot
folks.
more entertaining on this than you.
Why, by interrupting things and screaming and yelling? No.
Whatever.
That's the dangers of broadcasting with anybody in your place.
Goddamn, you already heard my old lady and my daughter.
I've got a friend who hosts a podcast every, I think, Wednesday, and it's like a shade tree mechanics chat. And what he does is, because he has a wife and 3 kids and like 10 dogs, is he set up his room similar to like Yankees walk-in gun safe, where he has like a broadcasting room, and above the door going into the broadcasting room is a red light bulb screwed into a socket. So what he told his family is if you need me and you come into this room, if the red light is on above the door, I'm on air. Don't come into the room. If the light's off, you can come in. There's no big deal. Because you know, like back in the day,
Yeah.
the radio stations would do that. They would have the on-air light or the sign. But he just happened
Yeah,
to
this
have,
fucker's dreaming if he thinks his fucking family's going to pay attention to shit like that.
well, I mean, his is a bright red light bulb, so it's pretty hard to miss. But like,
Yeah, but they ain't going to care.
that's the solution. That's the easiest solution, though, is you just set up some sort of thing in front of the door of your room that you're going to do this in, and just flip a switch, and you're just like, okay,
I
here we
did
go,
that.
bang.
I'm in the garage. The door's got a fucking lock on it.
Well, yeah.
Red light might mean something else too. Red
Yeah,
light district is
I
over.
knew that was coming.
Yeah, I
Well.
wasn't going to go there.
I knew that was coming, but like, I even made the same joke when I first saw it on his setup. I'm like, so does that mean you're a gigolo? And he's like, no, I just didn't want to make that stupid box that says on air. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I refused to grab the low hanging fruit.
I plant the low-hanging fruit. Knives fertilizes that low-hanging fruit.
I can't tell you how many times I say that that's just too fucking easy.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting older. You'll start
I see
saying,
the
"Hey,
same
I
thing
like
with my video editing program. Like when I first got it, it was weird. You know, like you can just tell my older videos that I used something pretty rudimentary. I was using Windows Movie Maker 6 way back in the day, and I kept adapting it and forcing it to work in newer versions of Windows. And then one day it just didn't work anymore. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this seriously, I'm going to have to get a serious program and relearn how to do all this. And what I ended up using is Power Director 19, I think it's called. I think that's what it's called. Let me see. It just says Power Director 365, but I thought it was Power Director 19. Anyway, that program is awesome. It's powerful too. It sort of reminds me of like Pro Tools for video editing. Like if you're an audio guy or a DJ or something, Pro Tools, you're intimately familiar with what that is. So like Power Director seems like a Pro Tools video version of Pro Tools. It's really cool.
I'm
But that's
well
what I'm
aware of
using
Pro
these days.
Tools.
I don't know, just like
Hey.
the learning curve was difficult, but once I got it, like you can see the progression for like the last 3 months, like the way my videos keep getting a little bit more polished and I keep adding little things here and there. Like one of the coolest things I did on that Ghost and Goblin series was I did the first video and I took the animation of like the little red winged demon thing in the beginning of the game. He's like sitting there hovering over the top right corner of the screen like he does in the game. And then every episode after that, I would get like this comical animation from the very, very first Nintendo game. And I would say, this is a summary of episode 1 or episode 2, or meanwhile, back at episode 3. So I was like adding all these little bits and elements and stuff, which, you know, it's just fun.
He says game, I hear walk, 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 walk.
Right, but see,
Hey, Sean.
that's why my videos are becoming more polished and yours are still relatively non-existent. It's good practice. That's the whole point.
My videos are absolutely non-existent because I fucking don't do any.
Right, but if you did, you'd have to like, it's like cooking, right? Now this I know you can relate to because you cook. You're fine-tuning your recipe, is all it is. And, you know, if you're not having fun doing it, why are you doing it? That kind of thing.
Cooking is like, if it's got bacon in it, you're good.
Right, but like for instance, I didn't know how to make, and some people who cook are probably going to laugh when I say this, but I like beef stew, and I didn't know how to make it until this year because I never took the time to learn it. But then once I learned it, I'm like, hey, this isn't as bad as I thought. I think the two most important things of cooking are prep and temperature control. And the most important things of videos or streams or shows is prep and volume control. It's not that different.
I'll tell you something, and this is all bullshit aside.
Hmm?
Cooking like stew is so easy if you are willing to use fucking gravy. And it can be powdered gravy mix. You don't have to go through all the bullshit of putting flour in the skillet and all that.
Oh, as a base?
Yes.
I'm going to have to
Yeah,
try
just
that.
get that fucking powdered brown gravy mix and make it in the broth that you're using for the stew.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try that. Like, the one I
And just
did was 64 ounces of beef broth with, like, 2 bouillon cubes and cornstarch and a couple other things. But, I mean, God, it turned
the
out good.
cornstarch is doing the
Thickener.
same damn thing as gravy.
Yeah.
You know, and if you replace that with a like amount of gravy,
Hmm.
you get way richer flavor.
Hmm.
And of course, it puts you a little closer to the fucking heart attack and the needing stents, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, you're eating. Whatever.
God, sometime. Or get picked up by aliens like that fucking useless Jimmy.
Yeah.
But I made it through my first heart attack. I didn't get a stents or nothing like that.
Please, bitch, don't tell me unless you're on number 6.
Nope. Number 1. That was it. But I'm only 30. When was your first one? In your 30s?
38.
The 34.
You
So
had
Then,
one?
then 42, 46,
Hold up, Jimmy.
50.
You had one?
Yeah, legitimate heart attack. I was sitting there, I was arguing with my wife, started getting a really bad pain in my chest and a really bad pain in my armpit. And the next thing I remember was being in an ambulance.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the armpit thing, yes. I never had chest pain.
It was like right, it wasn't where my heart was either. It was above my left. It was like right above, the pains were almost connected. That's how close they were.
Above your left nipple towards your shoulder.
Yep.
I've dealt with angina, which is it's a fancy name for chest pain. I have dealt with
Yeah.
that now for over 4 years. And I went through every battery of every test, every ultrasound, every x-ray, and everything. And the doctors couldn't figure it out. And then I ended up going to a sports therapist place. And the guy was like, tell me about your childhood and tell me about you growing up and tell me about the athletics you were in. So I did. And he leans back and he goes, you've put on 80 pounds in 2 years from what you've described. And your skeletal structure is in shock and it can't cope with how much muscle you've put on in that short amount of time. And I thought, okay, so how do I deal with it? And he goes, when you were growing up, you probably watched people doing stretches before doing physical activities and you didn't know why. And you probably thought it was pointless. He goes, you are now at that age where you should understand that stretching is a very important part of your day. And he's right. Like, this thing that goes on in my left shoulder and my chest and my back now, I can keep it under control if I stretch in the morning. Like, what I do at work is I have this countertop in the break room. I put my hand flat up against it, and then I lean down, like squat, with my hand on the counter until my shoulder is below the countertop. So, like, you can imagine my elbows pointed straight up. And it stretches your pec, your shoulder ligaments, and the muscles up into your neck. And I do that like 2 or 3 times a day. Like when I go and get another bottle of water or whatever, I'll sit there and do the stretch on either side. And then like I've got this old, you've seen them these days. They've got this new massaging device. It's like a big blue triangle thing, and it's got like this black rubber punchy thing, and it sits there and just beats on your muscles like that. Um, I've got one of those from like 1970 from Sears, and it's smaller, but it does basically the same job. And it's like it's literally like a meat tenderizer. So like I
You know,
use
your
that before moving.
girlfriend could have turned you on to that shit years ago.
Probably, but like this is that thing's savage. Like my dog walked into it one time, and it like she put her head right up against it, and she won't go near it now because it scared the hell out of her. Like it rang her bell or something. She took off.
Yeah, but your dog's tiny.
She is.
Get a whole dog, man. He would
Ha!
enjoy it.
Well, it took 6 of them to equal the weight of one whole dog, but you know. Tell you one thing though, somebody comes knocking or somebody comes to the door that they don't recognize, I know someone's there. Can't shut them up
I mean,
after they start.
I'll give Jimmy credit, even though he's got to babysit them when he puts them outside. He's got full size.
Yeah, it's just the bitch. The bitch is the one that likes to eat shit.
Oh, my dogs will fucking eat shit. I mean, I just put them where they can't get at it.
You talking about like stuff out in the yard
What
or
I need to
whatever?
do. No, remember
Expensive
I was
stuff.
trying to figure out. Remember, I was trying to figure out what was eating my shit hose. It was the dog.
So
Now, can you get some leather for them or something to chew on? One of those leather chewy
Oh yeah,
bones?
I'll
yeah.
guarantee you
But the
they'll.
thing is though, is that the girl dog. It's like if you're not paying attention to her for a certain amount of time, she starts tearing up shit. So what happened was yesterday, my wife had her niece and her boyfriend over here, so we were just hanging out or whatever. And she left the door open. I don't ever let the dogs outside unless I'm outside, just because. I mean, they can go outside. They got free roam or whatever. It's not like in cages. They're free. But I like to keep an eye on them, especially after the first incident where we had one of our, for lack of better words, shit hoses tore up. I wasn't sure if it was them or another animal, so I keep an eye on them. And yeah, I caught her doing it yesterday after my wife left the goddamn door open, like I told her not to.
dogs generally chew when either they're bored or they're trying to get your attention. Like that's just
That's what it
basic
was.
dog psychology.
They
The
That's what
fucking
it was.
chew because they're dogs.
well, they do
That's what
that because
dogs
they're
do.
bored. But
Yeah, because
the
when I'm
easiest way
outside
around it
fucking
is
with
spray
them,
something they don't like on it.
They
see
make
what I
a
was should
spray.
have built a fence. I'm just building a little mini midget fence right there and fucking sure that she knows not to go there.
They make a spray that makes the shit taste bitter. Hose, whatever the hell you need it on. That shit works.
Yeah, someone told me to do it with apple cider vinegar. They hate the smell, and what ends up happening is after the smell dissipates, where a human being can't pick it up, because I think it's 250 parts per million is when our sense of smell starts to pick up things. But if you're a dog, it's as low as 7 parts per million. So like after it airs out for you and you don't smell it, they still smell it, and it's a detractor. Like they're like, get that away from me, or they'll move away from it.
And think about it, Jimmy, man. Whenever you meet a dog, what the hell do? They sniff your ass. So that shit hose is going to be attractive.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. But yeah, so that mystery is solved. Everybody can rest easy now. I found out it was my
So
dog.
So the bitch has got that little tiny ass mouth after all.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? And I thought that she was gonna crunch, but that's what I thought. Because I'm like, what kind of a nibbling mouth?
She's chewing with her
Oh
front
my
teeth
shit.
only.
Yeah, little nibbling motherfucker. So I didn't. Yeah, I don't know if
The
he's trying to trick me
nibbler.
or what. Like maybe he'll never notice if I don't hit.
That sounds
You
like
need to
some
post.
kind of narrative that
Come on.
Dominic Dunn would do for like a murder mystery. Be like, it was the nibbler.
You need to post this whole show on the early watch too.
Yeah,
So what?
I can. Well, how's that gonna work?
I don't know how. What? I don't know.
Because
There are certain parts of
I've
this
got more
day that
subscribers
fit.
than us. It ain't like it's gonna help them to put it over there.
oh, that's easy enough. Like you've got a video editing program, so what you can do is you can capture this video and then edit what you want and put it on your channel. That's perfectly doable.
Yeah, because we was looking at shit to record just in case we needed to be away, and if you edit this would be perfect.
No, that's a
Oh
good
well,
idea.
I'll save this then. So don't post it, save it. Or what do you want? What are you talking about, Tom?
Actually, this is better than what we was planning on recording something because this is ad hoc off the cuff.
Yeah, welcome to the lobby on a Saturday.
So then download this and then put it to the side.
Yeah,
Well,
and then just
and
edit
edit
the
it
bits
out.
that you want.
you can edit it to the stuff that's really leaning towards me fucking with you. Uh, and there you go.
Oh yeah, I could do that. Tony doesn't. I have a feeling that you don't know. I ain't no big deal. I have a
That I
feeling you don't
don't
know
know
what
what.
editing consists of. It's you know what I'm saying. It's not pretty easy.
It's well, depending on what program you use, it can be easy and it can be a pain in the ass.
I
It's gonna
really,
be yeah, but it's not gonna be that much of a pain in the ass to where I can't do it while I'm listening to my wife tell me a story or some bullshit.
one,
That's that's master class editing. Are you paying attention to me? Yeah. Hang on, I gotta cut this part out.
dude, you just need to give her my fucking Discord here so I can keep her occupied for you.
Well, no, she jumps on that account that he's on now, so she can like hang out too. It's fine. It's
Don't let
fine.
her use the internet, guys.
Yeah, it's all
You don't
fine.
let you.
Seriously, this would be a perfect one to run should we ever need to be gone.
I could do that. I edit an hour out of this thing, as we only been going for we haven't even been going for 2 full hours yet. So
It's close to
Yeah,
it.
but I've spent a good hour fucking with you, so there's enough.
I think I found the
yeah, we
source
got
of
to
your heart attack, Jimmy.
what this guy.
Yeah,
Because he was gone, man.
like
I wasn't
that's
fucking
a
with his
misery
man.
loves company. He's like, I've had 6. Here, take one of mine.
yeah.
I've had at least 6. I may have lost count.
Yeah, hey, because I swear to God, because looky here, if I didn't pass out, I wouldn't have fucking went oh, I would have just thought it was really, really bad indigestion or something, and just sat here and like rocked it out,
Well,
in my chair.
honest to God, the first one,
Oh,
I never had a clue that what was going on until I got catheterization and they seen the blockage. Because my
Oh shit!
doctor, my cardiologist told me, you'll be back to work tomorrow once we check this out. And he said, nope, change my mind. Go to the fucking hospital. Great.
Yeah, I'm supposed to stop drinking sodas and smoking cigarettes and a whole bunch of shit that I still do. I guess. I think it was
I
just because of the stress.
I ain't quit smoking.
No,
No,
I
it's
didn't.
not.
No.
It's because of what you fucking eat.
What you talking about?
I'm
You
talking
have
about it's a fucking blockage in a fucking artery on your heart.
Yeah, watching Jimmy's growth physically in the last couple of years since the last time I saw him until now is sort of like looking back in time in myself about 8 years ago. Like he was like this. I called him Jericho from Fallout 3. Like that's what he was. He was like kind of not very huge. And now he's like wide load.
Well, now he was like huge, then he got little.
Yeah. And now it's like he's no stranger to a dinner table. It's like
By the way, Pwnery, that reminds me.
he's
You
catching
never
up to me.
mentioned the putting on fucking weight
Oh
when we
yeah.
was discussing all this.
Oh yeah. Like I've probably told you guys this in like the regular, day-to-day chats or whatever, but when I graduated high school, I was 6'1" and 138 pounds. Like a strong wind would push me around. And then
Shit, when I graduated high school, I was 5'10" and weighed 100.
yeah, so like you know what that looks like too then. But
Yeah.
my friend at the time that I used to go 4-1 with, he was a couple years older than me and he goes, don't worry. He goes, once you hit your early 30s, he's like, it all slows down. And I looked at him like, why? And he goes, look at me. He was like, I was your size when I was in high school too. And I'm like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. I got to about 28 and I think I started to realize what was causing it. I started to get a voracious appetite and I would eat everything. Like we'd go to the sushi bar and like the bill would be $150 just for myself. And I realized I was ordering a lot of food and I was also ordering a lot of drink. That's when I really discovered beer too. But I
Well,
usually don't do it in excess, like 2 or 3 in a sitting, except when I go out to the sushi bar. Then it's like we stack sake bottles like bowling pins. And I suspect that's when it all started because the next day, like a couple of years later, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, Damn, I put on a lot of weight.
I can tell you what started it with me, and that's a steady diet of pussy.
Yeah,
That's supposed to burn
that
calories.
You know, when I didn't
yeah,
have
I
to
was
chase,
around with the pussy.
I just
when
heard a
I
little
did,
voice in my head thinking that we would be chastised for not talking about guns right now.
this
In
ain't
the
a gun
past.
chat.
In the past. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, it's the gun community chat, right? Like that's where we all met. That's where we all came from.
Yeah,
So I'll
well,
tell
the
you what,
early,
usually when
early
I get
watch,
pussy, there's a gun around.
Yeah.
the early watch thing was intended to be guns. 2A.
Sure.
This is a lobby for working stiffs. We talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Well, I mean, we're in that channel, yes, but that's usually a weekday thing. I guess that's a good fair point though. It's like well, we already covered that. It's our eclectic backgrounds is what it is. But no, right now,
Sometimes you gotta tell Tony things twice.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, so to be 2A centric for a second, I am trying to debate what I'm going to load today because I think I have all the materials needed to load 6.5 Arasaka, which I need to do because I have no ammo for it, even though the gun's
Did
still
you
nice.
load anything with them bullets I sent?
No, because I don't have the die yet. The bullets you sent are going to be the shit. Which one was it? I think those are the ones for my Vetterli Vitali. Wait, those are
You able?
457s? No, those are the ones for my Dutch Beaumont.
I was gonna try powder coating, and then I found out that I probably don't want to do that in my oven I cook in.
Right. Yeah, and I've done it before. And yeah, what you want to do is you want to hit up like a garage sale or something and just grab somebody's toaster oven because
Yeah, that's
you can
game
powder
plan.
coat about realistically if you set them down very carefully, you can do 2 to 300 on a standard size toaster oven. Or if you just want to dump them into like a steel basket, you can do that too. Uh, but the problem with that is when you separate them, there'll be flat spots where they touched. So like you have to kind of decide how you want to do it. There's a technique there that you have to kind of figure out and master yourself.
Yeah, well, I intend to stand them up, and be neat with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes
You
the
shoot
bottoms
that
good too.
Arasaka yet?
What's that?
Oh, my bad. You shoot that Arasaka yet?
No, I have to make the ammo for it. It's kind of funny
Then
too how
I
it's
would,
going to
I
work
would
out.
load for that one.
The I've got a lot. I've noticed that over the years, most of my collection, I'm collecting a lot of guns in 6.5. So the really cool thing about this particular one is its bore diameter works perfect for a bullet that was supposed to be 6.5 Carcano. So like 6.5 millimeter in American caliber, English system or imperial system is .264, so 264 thousandths. But the Carcano, even though it's 6.5, actually uses a 268 thousandths bullet, which doesn't sound like much, but it greatly affects accuracy. So I found 268s. I think it was PPU or something that made them, and I bought them. And I loaded those, and I got them in the original stripper clips and whatnot. But I went to a gun show probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and I met a dude who had a lot of Milsurp stuff, and he had a box of original Cupro nickel Carcano bullets. They were pulled bullets, and they were 263.5 thousandths. So they were actually undersized. And I thought, I can't use those for this gun because it wants 268s. I could put 263.5s in there, but it would rattle around down the rifling ever so slightly. Well, thankfully, this Arasaka, it's a 264. So I'll just use the Cupro nickel bullets on the Arasaka bullets or ammo. I've got 100
Yeah,
of them, so
if the
Well, that's
gas
beautiful.
wants to go around, go ahead.
Sorry about that. So essentially, you can multitask then.
I can
Or multi-caliber.
multi-purpose them. Yeah. Like I've got a lot of guns in 264 now, so those are the common ones. You can go to Midway and buy 264s all day long. And I've got probably 500 or 600 of 264s, including the 100 Cooper nickel ones. And then I've got 400 or 500 268s, but I've used 100 of them so far for the Carcano. The real pain in the ass is for my label. Like the Turkish Mauser that I bought that's coming, that's a 323 bullet, and they call it 8 millimeter Mauser, but it's actually 7.92 millimeter. So it's a 323. The 8 millimeter Lebel is like 327, and that is a hard bullet to find, because if you go on the Googles and you look up 327 bullets, the only thing you're going to find is 327 Federal Magnum bullets, which are little round nose bullets, and that's not going to work for me. I mean, I could make them work, but they're way too small for like lengthwise and weight-wise to do what I want them to do. And Lebel bullets are expensive. Which is a teaser of what's probably going to be the next This Old Gat. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the Lebel first, or if I'm just going to do a brief inspection video of the Turkish Mauser. Which, that's the other gun I bought. It's a thing. It's a thing. Oh, and I found some original 8mm Mauser tracer ammo. Bright orange tracer ammo. I don't know if I'm going to buy them and then shoot them, or buy them and just keep them because they're in really good condition in the box. I don't really collect ammo. Like, we all know somebody who would do entire streams of just dumping bullets on a table and explaining which one's which or whatever. But I'm not about to do that. I buy guns to shoot. I buy bullets to shoot. So if I get the tracers, I'm probably going to shoot them.
Hell yeah.
But I guess since we're sort of on the subject of ammo, ammo is slowly trickling in and becoming plentiful again. Slowly, very slowly. And ammo prices are still a bit absurd, but I've been told that they're slowly coming down. Kind of a funny story is I was driving home from work yesterday, and a guy that I got into guns last year, who is almost 60. Like, so, you know, I thought I started this game late at 28 or 29. This guy's almost 60, and he got into it finally. And he was like, "Oh, I'm glad you called. I got this deal I found today." And I'm like, "What's that?" And he goes, "You can get 50-round boxes of 9mm for like $25 shipped." He's like, "That's like 50 cents a round. Isn't that good?" And I told him, I said, "Should I crush your dreams now?" He goes, "How so?" And I'm like, "I'm making 9mm ammo for 5 cents a round." And he was like, I didn't need to know that. How many boxes did you buy? I really don't want to tell you that now. I'm like, okay. He's like, so you bought 1,000 rounds of that stuff, didn't you? He's like, I hate you.
Well, if you buy it and shoot it,
Yeah.
it's just there.
Yeah. I always get into hand loading discussions with people who haven't done it yet. And usually the way I enroll them into the idea is when I start talking to them about cost per round. Then they understand the savings. You know, even though you're affluent and you have the money, doesn't mean you need to blow it, you know, for 10 times the cost of what you could have just made it yourself for.
But what you're reloading for ain't what he would be reloading for.
Oh, no, it's exactly what he would be reloading it for. Like, he likes to plink now. And so what he does is he goes and buys $1,000 rounds worth of ball ammo, and then he goes to the range and does his thing. And I'm just like, you can do that for a lot less money, which would give you more money to make more ammo, so you can make more trips to plink. And he goes,
granted, reloading's cheaper, but it's not as cheap today because that shit's scary too.
Yes, and the thing is you can get powder and you can get primer if you're patient and you take your time and you buy it at your locals. Most of your locals aren't price gouging, but they're buying powder is crippled.
obviously this dude ain't overly patient.
It's not that. Now, after I talked to him yesterday, he's warmed up to the idea of reloading because it just so happens that a mutual friend of ours just cleared out an estate of, I think he said 300 or 400 pounds worth of reloading equipment. Like he filled his mini, and he had to make 2 trips. He got the reloading equipment in 1 trip, and he picked up a bunch of other stuff in another trip. And I'm supposed to go see him either tonight or maybe tomorrow, and I got to sort out all the die sets. And he was like, "Yeah, sort it out and take whatever you want, and we'll sell the rest." So I noticed that in the pictures he sent me, there was an RCBS press that I've never seen before. It's as tall as a rock chucker, but it's 3 times wider. Like it has this big inflated shelf on the right side. For what reason, I don't know. And we convinced our mutual friend that you're probably going to want that. And if there's a 9mm die set in there and a 5.56 die set in there, take those 2. And he was like, "Yeah, it sounds good. Get me started." So that's what we'll do. Anyway.
Be sure to tell this friend not to buy unknown powder.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's seen what I do. I've already given him half an ammo can of 9mm ammo in the past, and he likes it. He was like, "It was so cool. I showed my wife your purple bullets, and she likes shooting that stuff." And I said, "Great. I'm glad it worked out," because I convinced him and his wife together that they should get into guns, and they did. And they're relatively affluent people. Like, he's retired now to the point where he's as a hobby, he repairs antique clocks and then he sells them, or he repairs them for other people for money. So it's like he's used to procedural work. And then I forgot what his wife does, but she's retired too. So like they jump from estate sale to estate sale and antique shop to antique shop, and that's what they do. But it's cool. Like that would be a person who would join this chat and be completely different from all the rest of us too. Anyway, it's 2 hours. It's already 1 o'clock. I'm sure some of you probably want to eat lunch, and I've got to probably do some shopping anyway, or maybe streaming or recording or whatever anyway. So what I'll probably do is we'll go ahead and tie it off here for the day. If you guys want me to do this on Saturdays, I'm not opposed to this. So like, you don't have to answer me now, but like, if you want to do this again next week, just tell me in passing, or just leave me a comment in the server or whatever. And if I do this again, I'll give you a heads up like a day in advance. That way you can plan for it. But we'll go ahead and do that if you want.
I'm down with it, as if I ain't got other shit going on, which sometimes happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. But yeah, and then like anybody watching this or watches it in the future, that email address at the bottom of the stream, and I know it's long, it's lessgrossgoingscorchedearth@gmail.com. It's a joke. But the address is real. You can always reach me at that address. If you want an invite to join the server or the stream here or the chat here, you're more than welcome to. And I will just make sure you leave your gun channel's name or whatever, how I can recognize you in your email, and I'll send you a link to how to join. And for Mr. Knives, if you're still out there watching,
Yeah, what happened to him?
he can't get Discord to work. So what I'm probably going to do is, like I did for Jimmy, I'll try to record you a private video on how to set it up, and that way you can see it on my screen as it works, and hopefully we can get you in here so that way you can come and shoot the shit with the rest of us. But anyway, it's been 2 hours. I had a great time. I'm going to play this stupid outro music because I can, and I'm not sure if you guys can even hear it in the panel, which means it won't annoy you if it does or it doesn't. But the viewers can hear it, and we'll see you next week. Later.
Take care, everybody.
All right, we're off.